welcome back to another Animal Crossing New Horizons video. So this is going to be the second video in this series. If you weren't aware, this series is where I basically redecorate villagers' homes that I think could have been a lot better. You should probably watch my video, The Problem with Animal Crossing Villagers, for context. And if you haven't already, go watch the first video in this series, which was the last one we did, where we decorated Barbara's house. In today's video, if it wasn't obvious by the title and thumbnail, we're going to be redecorating Drift's home, because I think he deserves a lot better. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so just like the last time in this series, I was using Drift's homes in the previous games as inspiration this time around. So this one was a little bit more difficult than Barbara's home because I could have gone in any sort of direction, because when I first met Drift, he actually had a Western style home, so it was like a desert cowboy aesthetic, which still when I see it, it does remind me of Drift. But then in Animal Crossing New Leaf, they changed his home to be a more jungle plant theme, and I really like that version of his home. I think it suits him since he is a frog. I don't know too much about what sort of frogs live in like a desert type area. He could be based on one that lives in a desert type area, so maybe that suits him more. But when I see his patterns and everything, I just think that he must be some sort of frog from a jungle type area. So I really did want to recreate the jungle home from New Leaf. I'm sorry if you were hoping for the Western home, but I do just think that his home deserves to be full of plants and happiness and greenery since he is a froggy. And I think all froggies deserve to be surrounded by plants and happiness. So yeah, I was using his home from New Leaf as inspiration. And if you weren't aware of what Drift's home looks like in Animal Crossing New Horizons, I'll put a picture up on the screen. I'm not really sure what they were going with. It's sort of like a dark gothic. The way I see it is just a tin can. It literally looks like he's living inside a tin can. And I did get a comment on my video, The Problem with Animal Crossing Villagers, from someone saying they like his home like this because they like rock music and everything and it suits their aesthetic. I think that's so cool. I also really love rock music, but the music in Drift's house is just, in New Horizons, is just too loud. The problem with villagers who have stereos in their home in New Horizons is you can't change the volume, and New Horizons brought in this new feature to the music players where you can have the music super loud or super quiet, and so when they're automatically put on the highest volume, it's incredibly noisy, and I just do not enjoy being in Drift's home because of it. Not only that, but he's a froggy and he doesn't even have like any plants in his home. It makes me so sad. If you didn't know, Drift is actually one of my favourite villagers. If you're wondering why he's my favourite, it's sort of like a love-hate relationship that started when I was younger. I want to say he was in my very first Wild World town. If you didn't know, Wild World was my first Animal Crossing game, and I didn't really like his aesthetic. I didn't really like his patterns, you know. I'm a very girly girl, so, you know, when I see a red and orange and black frog, I was like, oh, I don't want you around. And I don't know what happened, but slowly over time, I just came to like him because he was just crazy. And when I was younger, I reset my town many times, and I swear to you, every single time I reset my town, Drift would be there, or he would move in within the first couple of weeks, and this just happened every single time. And so eventually Drift just became, he just felt like part of me in Animal Crossing. And then when I got Animal Crossing New Leaf in my teenage years, guess who was one of my first villagers to move in? It was Drift, and I was so excited, I was so happy. I was like, I can't believe he's followed me into this game as well. And so unfortunately, he didn't just randomly move in New Horizons, so I did use a amiibo card to get him to move in. And although he doesn't really fit in with my fairy core aesthetic, and I already have a jock villager called Lyman, who I love so much, it just feels right. Like when I see Drift on my island, it just feels right to me. He's just been my friend for so many years, and I love him, and I think he's a very, very underrated frog villager. I think all the frog villagers are amazing. I just think they're all so cute, so funny, and I love all their designs. I think they're all so funky looking and so cool. I love frogs, if you weren't aware. I do love frogs. One item actually that would have been perfect to go in this house would have been Froggy Chair from the old games. I'm sure you all know, but we used to have a chair in the old Animal Crossing games that was a frog, and when you sat on it, it made a cute little fart noise, and I loved it, and it was the best chair ever. And in New Leaf, they gave us the option to customize the Froggy chairs. You could get a pink Froggy chair. Oh my goodness. This house just needs a Froggy chair, so despite the outcome of it in the end, I do actually really love the way this house looks in the end. I think a Froggy chair would have made it a million times better. So Nintendo, if you're watching this, please bring Froggy chair back. We all want Froggy chair. You could literally put it as paid DLC. People would buy the Froggy chair. So, you know, you're missing out on a big business opportunity here. We need Froggy chair. Anyways, despite Drift's red and black and orange dark aesthetic, I think a bright green home is a really nice contrast to that. And if you didn't know, I told you a bit about how in my last video I see Barbara as my grandma. Well, Drift is sort of just like, in my view, he's just this absolutely crazy guy. Like, he is so obsessed with sports. I have Lyman on my island who is a jock and he loves sports as well, but that's not like his whole life. I see Lyman as doing many other things, but Drift is actually insane. In my brain, he's just incredibly competitive and absolutely crazy. And you can actually see that sometimes in some of my Let's Play videos where Drift is there. Like, I think it was the fishing tourney. Drift is just crazy. He just is always crazy, even in this game, which is actually quite surprising because New Horizons did tone the personalities down and change them a lot from the old games, but Drift still feels sort of similar to me. He still was a bit more crazy in old games, but basically he's just obsessed with exercising. So although I'm going for a jungle plant theme, you will see me trying to incorporate some areas for him to do some exercise, lift some weights and stuff like that. I did also just want to make this a safe haven for him, full of plants and happiness and just a little sanctuary for a little frog to live in. I also noticed that it doesn't have any like water or anything in his home, and I'm not sure if I can put a picture on the screen or not, but where I have Drift on my island, he is actually living right next to a waterfall surrounded by water, and he has like little stepping stones in the water leading up to his house, and outside he has a lot of like Japanese items and fountains and stuff just to make sure the whole area is full of water for him to play in since he is a frog. And so it felt a bit sad. Like, it feels sad when I go into his house and it's just a black box, you know what I mean? I know that style might be for some of you might prefer that, and that's okay, but like I said in all the videos where I talk about decorating their homes, this is why I want a happy home designer feature incorporated into New Horizons, because you might like the way Drift's house looks, but I don't, and I want it to look more like what I'm creating right now, because in my experience with him, this suits him better. So I just think that's something that they could include in the game and it would be incredible. I think everyone would love it. I think it would fit New Horizons a lot more than any of the other games, to be honest with you, because this game is very focused on decorating. I also didn't want to make his home like too full of exercise equipment, because he does go outside to do a lot of his exercise and he loves running around the island and stuff like that. So I didn't want to give him too much stuff, and I did just want to make this an area where he can go and eat and sleep and relax, as well as do some exercise if he feels like it. And this did actually take me a lot longer than Barbara's home. I was struggling with where to place things, what items to use for a very long time. You can probably see me struggling with the placement of items and stuff like that. And as always, please do remember that these rooms that I'm decorating in Halves Island are slightly bigger than the typical villagers' homes, so we are able to fit in a lot more than Nintendo typically would be able to when they're creating the villagers' homes. So do keep that in mind, even though I am trying to show Nintendo something they could have done with all the items we already have in the game. You do still have to bear in mind that they do not have as much room as us, but I still think this sort of theme would have been lovely for Drift, and especially just the change in the music or just remove the stereo completely. Also, I was so happy to see your guys' comments on my last video in the series where I decorated Barbara's house. It seems like all of you really liked the way her house turned out, which made me so happy to hear. I was a bit worried I'd get a lot of comments of people saying they didn't like it or they preferred the original, which is fine, like I say in these videos. Completely fine if you prefer the villagers' original home. I'm just trying to show how I would love their home to be decorated. And also, as always, if there are any villagers whose homes you'd like to see me fix up or decorate, please do let me know in the comments. Next up on the list is Flora, because I know she was very highly demanded and asked for after my big problem with New Horizons villagers video. I showcased her home and it was just actually disgusting, like it's awful, and so I will be fixing that after this one. I'm very excited to decorate that. I haven't done it yet. I hope I'll be able to make it look better at least than just 5 flamingos standing in an empty room. Yeah, but as you can see in Drift's home, I was filling it with a lot of mushrooms as well, because actually when I see these mushroom items, I just see Drift, because he is like the colour of mushrooms. And I can imagine him just like sleeping under the big mush parasol. Yeah, I think he'd love to be surrounded by mushrooms, and any excuse I can get to use the mushroom items, I will take it, because they're some of my favourite items in the entire game, and actually they're some of my favourite items in any Animal Crossing game ever. I know I do complain about New Horizons quite a bit, especially when it's these sort of videos where I'm showing the flaws in a villager's home and then fixing it up, but I do have to say that the mushroom items in New Horizons are amazing. I would still love to see the Mush Furniture series from old games return though. I absolutely adore that series. I'm also making sure to include some butterflies and bugs, because as we all know, frogs like to eat bugs. I'm not saying he's gonna eat them, maybe they're just his friends, but I did just want to like go all in on that jungle aesthetic. And I did make this room very cluttered, I have to be honest. I was struggling with the furniture for a while because I was really trying to stick to the like original New Leaf sort of furniture. But eventually I do switch things up just so it fits in more of the theme, and I think it actually looks better than the New Leaf house. I also included this pond or water fountain type item, just so he has somewhere to like bathe in the water and relax in the water since he is a froggy. This item is a little bit noisy, especially when placed inside homes, but I personally could listen to this water sound way longer than the heavy metal music in Drift's home in New Horizons, so hopefully he prefers this sort of noise. Hopefully you guys prefer it too. I was actually really proud of how this one came out because when I was almost finished decorating it, my boyfriend came up to me and he was like, "Whoa, did you make that?" And it made me feel so happy because I never usually get a response like that on my decorations. He was so impressed with it, which made me feel so happy. If you don't like it, as usual, that's okay. But this is just how I'd like to see Drift's home along with this theme, jungle, plants, lots of water and nature. I think he would absolutely love it. I made sure to include some little food for him on his mush table as well because I think he'd always be like wanting snacks, especially after working out all day. But yeah, I have been talking for a very long time now, so with that out of the way, why don't we show Drift his new home and move on with the tour? Okay, so here's the finished room. Isn't it so cute? It's so naturey and so bright, full of mushrooms and plants. It makes me so happy. So as you can see, I went with a yellow mush table. I sort of went with mismatched theme with the mushrooms, like yellow and red, because I think they both suit him. I went with a bed that kind of looks almost exactly like his New Leaf bed. I also put a Sanrio item in here, the canopy lamp. I just think it's so lovely and fits in with the jungle theme. I put a little mushroom reef on his wall. He also has this bamboo divider type thing, and also in front of it you can see he has a kettlebell since he would be exercising around his home. He also has a little red music player over here with lots of plants around it and a cherry lamp just to brighten up the house a little bit. And my town fruit is cherries, so I think he would be repping the town fruit, you know. Over here he has a Mario mushroom item, a little rock and some butterflies, some flowers. I thought a little flower fan would be useful for when he's working out. He also has these big weights in the corner and, like I said before, big water pond that he can relax in with the little froggy as well. I just think it suits him so much. And he also has some food on his table, and I made sure to include the red lantern because he did actually have the red lantern in his home in the picture that I was using as reference, so I just thought that that was a nice touch. And that's the finished home. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's an improvement from his old house? I honestly love this. I think the colours suit him so well. I also dressed him up in a little froggy t-shirt. I just love that t-shirt and I always love when he wears it. I hope you guys like his outfit too. If you enjoy these videos, please do leave a like and please do let me know in the comments what you thought of this house. And like I said, any other villagers you'd like to see me decorate their home and fix up their home, just let me know, because after Flora, I'm not sure who to do next, so I'd love to hear your suggestions. Before I go, I do just want to say an extra special thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting me this month, especially my little fairies. I love you guys so much. You are so sweet. Your name should be on the screen right now, and your support helps me out way more than you'll ever realise, so thank you so much. And to the rest of you, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you like Drift's house. I think he loves this way more than his old house. He just looks so happy and cute in it. I just think it suits him so much. I am absolutely in love with this one, and it's not often I feel proud of my home designs, and I genuinely feel really proud about this one. So yeah, I hope you guys liked it too. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing, only if you want to though. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're having a super lovely day, and I'll speak to you in my next video. Bye!